Hey guys, it's Amon and Christina from the Our Rich Journey podcast, where we answer your questions about making, saving, and investing money for financial independence and retiring early. Today, we have a question from a 23-year-old that is planning on retiring by the time they are 33. I'm excited about this question. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're 23, 33, 43, 53. When you start pursuing FIRE, your whole life changes. But for someone to get intentional about this at 23, oh my goodness. I get so excited hearing about that.
Yes, I mean, we love hearing about people's stories when they started the FIRE journey, where they are on the FIRE journey. But there's something about this caller specifically, because at 23, we didn't even have anything in our minds associated with what even FIRE is. We had no concept of it. We weren't doing all these steps that got us to actually reach financial independence and retire early. So the fact that she is 23 and she already is setting these goals for herself, I think is so exciting. So this caller, her name is Leandra. Like we said, she's 23. She is planning on retiring 10 years from now at 33. So she wants to know how she can achieve this goal of retiring in 10 years. So there's a lot more specific information in her call. So let's listen to her question and then we will get to the answer.
Hi guys, my name is Leandra. I'm 23 years old and I'm planning on achieving FIRE in 10 years time, and I'd like to have £1 million by then. And my question is, how do I calculate how much money do I need to invest every month to achieve my FIRE number? That's my question. So thank you very much for everything that you do. You really inspire me. Thank you guys.
Oh my goodness. So Leandra is walking around the UK, right? Because she's talking about getting $1 million worth of pounds. She's walking around the UK telling everybody, I'm planning on retiring by the time I'm 33. I mean, a 23-year-old, when I was 23, I couldn't plan past next week, right? So she has set this long-term goal of achieving financial independence. And when you have your FIRE number in mind, the challenge is figuring out how to get there, right? You learn almost as you go in a way. At least we had to, but she has the benefit that so many people have right now that are pursuing this goal. She has resources, information, all of these things that she can put together to put together an actionable plan. Because right now, she just knows, I want to retire in 10 years and I want £1 million. The challenge is, what does she have to do in between that to achieve that goal?
Yes, so let's help her fill in those holes and figure out what she needs to do. Now, I will say, if you guys are listening, we have an episode where we talk about this concept of figuring out how much money you need in order to retire, and we relate that back to whether or not you're investing in the stock market and whether you're investing in real estate. So we talk about this being your FIRE number. It's the amount of money that you would need in a stock portfolio in order to reach financial independence and retire early. Leandra said that her FIRE number is £1 million. Now, if you want to figure out how to calculate that, please go to episode 2 of this podcast and you can learn more about that.
Now, what's really great about Leandra's question is that she's very specific about her goal and her timeline. So the only other missing factor is what she plans on investing in order to achieve the goal over this period of time. And so assuming that her plan is to invest in the stock market and retire off of a stock portfolio, we're gonna do a little bit of homework for her, right? We're gonna make the assumption that she's planning on investing in the US stock market and getting the returns from the US stock market. Now, even though she's in the UK, there are ways for people that live in foreign countries to still invest in the US stock market. It all depends on the brokerage that you're with, but you should also be able to find a way to access the US stock market and get those returns. So, you know, we like to invest in the total stock market or the S&P 500. We're gonna use the total stock market as the investment. And assuming she gets the historical returns of the total stock market, which is 10%, it's easy to calculate how much money she would have to invest every single month in order to reach this 1 million pound goal. And so we looked at it, right? She would need to invest 5,500 pounds per month with a 10% return in order to achieve financial independence in 10 years.
So 5,500 pounds is going to sound like a lot of money, especially for a 23-year-old who is assuming that she's going to have to be investing that much every single month for 10 years. Now, for people in the States that are listening to this, 5,500 pounds is the equivalent right now to about $6,200 every single month. So now that she knows this number, this range of how much she should be investing, the next question is, how does she get her income to a level where she can be investing at that rate of 5,500 pounds every single month?
So even though it sounds like a lot of money, I would not let that discourage her, because really everyone that calculates their FIRE number and they're starting this journey, they're going to be in a very similar situation. You see, when you pursue financial independence, the idea is that you're moving up your timeline to retirement, right? So in order to do that, you have to save and invest more money in order to get there quicker, right? So what she has to do, and she's very fortunate that she's recognizing this early on in her journey, she has to start to get very intentional about saving, making, and investing money. First, let's talk about the saving piece. If you don't have a budget, develop a budget and identify all of the money that you can save, because that means more money that you can invest. Now, when we're talking about making money, of course, at your job, I'm guessing a 23-year-old is still kind of starting out on the income ladder, right? They just have more room to grow at work. They're going to make more money at work. So she should be looking for opportunities to start to make more money at work. But like we always said, our 9-to-5s were not going to get us to financial independence. We also had to figure out ways to make money outside of work. You see, that to me is the X factor in this whole financial independence journey. You could get there a lot sooner if you're able to make more money outside of work. You have a side hustle that generates all types of income. You could get there in a matter of months. I don't want to say months, but I mean, the right side hustle, you never know. But you can definitely move that data up. I mean, for us, it was real estate, right? Real estate definitely expedited our journey. What was supposed to be a 10-year journey became an 8-year journey. So once she does all that, you can see how someone can start to invest 5,500 pounds a month. And it may be one of those things where initially she's not putting away that much, right? Maybe she's only able to do 1,000 pounds a month. But as she starts to grow her income and save more money, and maybe she gets to 10,000 pounds a month, you see, there are different ways that she can achieve this goal of putting away 5,500 pounds a month.
Yes, I mean, I definitely think that the focus, Leandra, if you're thinking about this goal of retiring in 10 years, the focus really has to be outside of that 9-to-5 job, because for most people, there's a ceiling in terms of how much you can make with your normal 9-to-5. But if you have a side hustle, if you start your own business, if you're doing things outside of only getting that income from your normal 9-to-5 employer, you can grow your money so much more. And there's less of a ceiling when you have your own side hustle and you have more control over the profits that you could potentially take in. So I would definitely say you're at the beginning stages of your journey. Right now, you should really be focused on ways to create additional income so that when you're bringing in this additional income, you have even more money to invest. So there is one other thing that I really want to hit upon, because we're talking about 5,500 pounds a month in order to get to this goal based off of this 10% annual return. Now, we said this 10% annual return that we're using is based off of the historical returns of the total stock market it's actually over the past 100 years. But past returns are not going to predict future returns. So just because you invest a certain amount each month and you anticipate a 10% return over 10 years, that may not necessarily be what the return is. Maybe you end up actually getting a higher return, or maybe you end up getting a lower return. But there's no guarantee to figure out what your return could be. So that's really the best estimate that you can have, is just thinking about a baseline and start working towards that goal.
It's always a guiding light.
Yes.
I mean, you have to use some sort of guesstimate in order to pursue this journey. Because without that guiding light, you don't know whether or not you should be investing $1,000 a month or $30,000 a month. It's just there to help you develop a better plan.
Right. Okay, so we have the numbers, we have the guiding light. We talked about increasing the income, but there's something that you think is really important. I think is really important too, but I know if we don't hit upon this, you're going to be like, oh, we should have talked about this, and it's mindset.
It's definitely mindset. You know, when she first started her question, it sounded like she had a really good mindset in place. She said, I'm planning on doing this. And she must always continue to have that type of can-do mindset. And surround yourself with other people that believe that you can do this. You know, you're 23 years old. A lot of people are going to throw that into question. They're going to say, oh, you're too young, you haven't experienced life. All these different things that older people that have failed at something try to put on you. What you are doing is going to be unique, but you have to own this journey.
Yeah, and I think when we're talking about owning it, you have to be positive. You have to understand that you can achieve it. And for everyone that is listening to this podcast, I would love for you to go back to the question. The beginning of the question, when Leandra starts talking, she says, I'm planning on retiring in 10 years. Something to that effect, but I know the language was, I'm planning on. It wasn't, I'm going to try to, or I really hope that I can do this. I'm not sure, but I'll see. These were definitive words. I am planning on doing this, right? And that's the type of mindset that will get you somewhere because you've already adopted this goal that you're going to achieve. You've already adopted this positive mindset that you're going to do it. I'm planning on doing this. I'm going to do this. You know, it's the difference between someone hoping they can do it and someone saying, okay, can you help me decide how much I need to invest each month because I'm planning on getting there. I just need the roadmap for how to do that.
That's right.
And it all goes to that mindset of really accepting the challenge and understanding that you can do that. And the sooner that you can get into that mindset on your FIRE journey, I think the more successful that you can be.
Definitely.
So we threw a lot of stuff in there. It wasn't just a number. There's so many different elements to that. But I'm glad that we got to answer this question to really give some concrete numbers to the journey. So people that are out there, if you're trying to figure out how much you need to invest to reach a certain goal, hopefully this episode helped you. If you're also interested in investing in real estate and you want to know how that plays a role, go to episode 2 of this podcast because that can give you some further insight. And if you still have questions after that, why don't you consider leaving us a question so we can use it for a future episode? You can go to ourrichjourney.com/podcast to submit a question for us so that we can answer your question in a future episode. But until then, we hope you are having a great day. Please remember to leave a review for this podcast because it really helps our podcast grow. And we will see you in the next episode. Remember that we are not financial advisors and the views expressed by us are solely for entertainment purposes. You must make responsible decisions, and that means making decisions based on the thorough, independent research that you conduct. Thanks for listening.